How's everybody doing? Tinkering with Harleys. I want to thank all of you who have subscribed. I greatly appreciate it. And if you enjoy these videos, by all means, please subscribe. And if you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. Today we're going to continue on with that transmission. Before we can reassemble the main shaft and counter shaft, we have to get the bearings out of the doors. So that's what we're going to do today. So we'll get right to it. So here's the door for the transmission. It's been cleaned, and as have all the gears and the shafts and everything. But we can't reassemble the shafts until these bearings are replaced. And you'll see why later on. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take the bearings out. So there are 2 snap rings, one for each bearing. So we're going to get those out first. We missed it. We missed it. There we go. There's one. I'm using one of the new attachments on this camera. Hopefully give you a better idea or a better view. Okay. And there's 2. Now you don't reuse these snap rings. These get discarded. And there you have the bearings. Now, these press out from the inside out. In other words, back here is where they press out from. So we'll go over to the press and we'll get these out. Well, like a dummy, I forgot to turn the camera on when I took the first seal out, or the first bearing out. So what you want to do here, I've got the camera on now, you want to make sure this door is supported, because this is aluminum and you are putting pressure on it. And you get your bit in there and you check to make sure your dowel pins are out of the way, and then check underneath to make it's not obstructed by the steel supports, and then you just slowly start to press it out. And it's not in there with a great deal of pressure. You can see that's moving very easily. Yep. We need to get the steel out of there. She's just about out. Just about out. Just got to make sure this is even, so we get a nice even. And there it is. Okay, now here's the bearings that we just pressed out. There's a little drag on it. Same thing with this. And these are the replacement bearings. right here. These are a much better quality bearing. And the rebuilding kit I'm using is actually a Baker. There's good rebuilding kits out there, but I prefer the Bakers. And there's your door. And like I said, when you press them out, you got to make sure this is supported because this is aluminum. So what we're going to do is we're going to get it all cleaned up in here, and then we are going to put the new bearings in. Okay, so now everything is nice and cleaned up. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to put a light coat of oil in here, and we're going to put a light coat of oil on the bearings. Yep. This new attachment. I got to watch what I'm doing because otherwise things aren't in frame. Just give it a nice coat. And then we'll get the bearings. Now these bearings are much heavier. The replacement bearings are much, much heavier than the stocks. And I found that using these, it cuts way down on transmission noise. It really does. So we'll put a light coat of oil on the outside of the bearing. We'll get the dog hair off of there. And now we're ready to go back over to the press. Now when you press these in, if you see the numbers right there, it presses in with the numbers facing out. In other words, just like that. So we'll go to the press and we'll get this pressed in. Okay, when you put them back in, you want to make sure it's supported, as it is here, and there is a dowel pin in the back. You want to make sure that is not hitting on anything that's going to cause this to cock. You want to get this bearing in here as straight as you can get it, and just line it up. And you want to press on the outer part of the bearing. Just like that. Get it centered. So you know you're nice and straight. Get her piece of steel in there. You really don't need to do this if you don't want to. It's just a habit I've gotten into. And just very gently start pressing that in there. There it goes. And that feels like it's seated. take a look here. Oh yeah, that's seated. And you can feel the difference in the bearings. It's seated now. And you can see it's down below the snap ring hole. So now we'll get the other one in. And then we'll get it in there. Get as straight as humanly possible. There we go. That's there we go. Make sure it's lined up nice and straight. And we'll get it pressed in. Check underneath to make sure nothing's in the way. Dowel pin is out of the way. And now we'll just press it in. And remember, these go in with the numbers facing up or out. And it's seated. Okay, now both bearings are seated. And yep, they're both looking good. And now we'll put the snap rings in. There's the new snap rings. So now we'll get these in. We'll get the snap rings in. Oops. And now I'll get the second snap ring in. Take the screwdriver. Make sure everything is in place. They're snapping in there. And then. So that's it. That's how you replace the bearings and the new snap rings. So that's it. That's how you replace the bearings in the door. Very simple procedure. You just have to be careful when you do it. So I hope this helps somebody, and thank everybody for watching. And until next time, everybody be safe out there.